Israeli black metal. Now, that is a thing that is not too often encountered in the scene when it comes to black metal especially. However, this time we have one of these rare exceptions with their second album. So let's welcome Dim Aura. Founded in 2010, this is their second album called Triumphant Age of Death. Now, this is a kind of a topic or title that is very common these days, talk about how death and death worship, death being the eternal thing, God and whatever, has been subject to many albums. However, this Israeli band tries to do its best to make this idea worthwhile and interesting, and to be honest, they quite succeed in it. Let's take a look on this cover, which is, in my opinion, quite an interesting take, especially coming from Israel. As you can see, this is very anti-Christian in sort of, and yet holding this kind of angelic creature, or shall we say satanic creature on it. Here's the kind of a band picture inside this triangle. Then we have the obvious lineup information and information regarding the album itself. Inside we have lyrics, more lyrics in the kind of a same way. Pause if you have to. I tried to make my best that the auto zoom will actually work here, which is not a given thing. And last but not least, the last pages of the booklet here, right here. Once again, the CD itself, released by Saturnal Records, as you can pretty much read, and then the actual inlay. Very simple, but quite nice in design. What about the music? Well, this is kind of an interesting thing because there is no originality at all, despite being from Israel. So this is not like an album that would sound, kind of like this Middle East or that region kind of feeling. This is very Nordic in design. Now, I'm not complaining, obviously, because to me this is kind of a homage to Nordic black metal, especially back in the 1990s. Everything from production to the riffs and compositions here is very Nordic. One could say even Norwegian. But to be honest, I don't care if this is not originality, because to be honest, this 49 minutes an album or so is very captivating. Not as such like there's like this and that track which are, surpassing the rest, but more as a whole album. That is, all those kind of evil sounding riffs, the sinister atmosphere, and that kind of a cutting sound, which is kind of a very, how to say it, kind of a razor sharp and yet dirty. So, reminding me of a lot of those early 90s black metal albums when things were like Python sound or Krieghallen sound. Now, like said, this album is no original by any means, but that is not to say that this album isn't strong. And as such, it kind of brings to this problematic situation. This is kind of something that you probably want to compare with the originators of early second wave black metal, and at the same time it's kind of unfair to call this album unoriginal and bringing nothing new to the genre, because after all this is like 25 years late. Does it bother me personally? Not at all. I think this is very much on, in par with the better albums of the early 90s. I'm not saying it excels just everything. Of course, there are just some classic albums which are kind of impossible to match or beat them. But to be honest, Dim Aura is a very strong contender. And in my books, it kind of adds a layer of interest that it's coming from Israel, which is not known for being, extreme metal country. This is something I totally urge you to check out if you have been a fan of 1990s Nordic black metal, and probably most of the people subscribing to my channel are. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Dim Aura. There are links to their Bandcamp page, both actually their own and the one with Saturnal Records. This was released late March 2019, so it's already out there in the distros, or should be, Joe. So, if you like the album as much as I do, go get your copy and enjoy what you listen to. See you soon with more reviews coming your way.